Welcome to Virus Research. Today, we'll discuss about a company that manufactures the god of grains, also known as Basmati rice. So, what is so special about Basmati rice? I would say its aroma, its texture, and its fluffiness. In the earlier times, Basmati rice was only available to the emperors and the top class society. But now, because of the agricultural revolution, it is available to all of us. Let me introduce you to KRBL. So KRBL is the largest exporter of branded basmati rice from India. They also have the largest milling plant in the whole world. There are 14 brands sold under the banner KRBL, out of which India Gate is the most famous. They also have the strongest dealer and the distribution network in India. Now, let us see the presence of KRBL. KRBL has two milling plants, and the rest of the locations that you see are their power plants. The reason why company is continuing with its power plants is because they have signed 25-year long power purchase agreements with the respective state governments. In the power purchase agreements, the company is selling power at above 6 rupees a unit, which is a really lucrative price and gives the company a good investment rate of return. The first time I saw KRBL was in a documentary by Discovery, The God of Grains, in which I saw how complicated is the process of converting paddy to the rice we eat. The companies need top-notch technology and very secured warehousing services, which are really expensive to build. Also, in the documentary, I saw the scale at which KRBL works and their fully automated plants, which are top class in the industry. There are two lengths of basmati that are sold in the market. First, the head rice. The head rice are the full grains that are obtained in a lot of paddy. Broken rice is the same head rice, but the length of the grains are much smaller compared to the head rice. So the price at which broken rice is sold is much lower compared to the head rice. It is really important to keep in mind because we'll use the data later. So there are two types of basmati that is sold in the market. First, parboiled rice and then the aged rice. So paraboiling is a hydrothermal process in which the brown husk from the paddy is removed so that it can be directly milled. Whereas in the aged rice, the rice is aged for 1 year, then it is milled so that the rice has better aroma, better fluffiness, and good texture. So why do many players don't sell aged rice? That is because warehouses, which are really important to age rice, are really expensive to build, and to fund inventory for 2 years is not possible for many players. To know how exclusive is basmati, we need to know basmati can be grown in the plains of India and very selected regions in Pakistan. Pakistan just produces 10% of the total production of basmati in India. I've said a lot of good things about basmati rice, but does that show in the numbers? So as we can see in this chart, the total exports of basmati has increased 4 times in the last 10 years. Also, this trend, according to me, is going to continue because more and more countries now are shifting to basmati as their staple food. In this slide, I've enlisted the top 10 importers of basmati from India. So as we can see in this pie chart, Iran imports almost 1/3 of the total exports from India. The demand from Iran is really volatile because they have their own cultivation. Also, the rice which is exported to Iran is unbranded and is ordered through tenders by the private companies, and the government. When I say business with Iran is much complicated compared to the other countries, that is because US has imposed many sanctions on Iran. So to continue trade with Iran, India came out with a way in which they paid Iran in rupees for the oil it imported. So in this mechanism, Indian importers deposit money in rupee in the accounts of Iranian banks, which is maintained with UCO Bank. So this amount was also used to pay the Indian exporters. Now that India no longer imports oil from Iran, the account is getting empty and the payments are getting stuck. Also, we need to note that only parboiled rice is exported to Iran because of the volatile nature of the business, so that the companies don't have to take the inventory risk. Because Iran is the major importer of basmati rice, any demand fluctuations causes a lot of volatility in the paddy prices. In the recent discussion with the management, they told us that 3,400 crores of Indian basmati traders is stuck with Iran since October. They also assured us that none of their payments is stuck in Iran because they do business with only GTC, that is the government of Iran. If there are any more sanctions imposed on Iran, the business will get routed through Iraq or Dubai. There will be demand, but the demand will be significantly less than what it is now. Now, let us look at the demand scenario of basmati rice in India. In India, just 2% of the total rice consumed is basmati, which is set to increase because of the biryani culture and various cheap versions of broken basmati available. Also, one major reason why I believe basmati rice consumption will increase because consumers will now prefer packaged rice over unpackaged rice. Basmati being a really brutal business, I believe the bigger players will keep getting bigger. So the reasons that I believe that that organized players will take away market share from the unorganized players is aging, which has higher valuations, can be done only by the bigger players because of the strong balance sheets and the warehousing capabilities. Also, some many times in the industry, the payments get delayed by the buyers. Because of that, the working capital cycle of the smaller players gets totally destroyed, and they have to bear losses because of their interest costs. Also, in the years when the paddy prices are volatile, the companies with strong brands can only maintain the profit margins. In the past, there have been many frauds by the smaller players in which they have overstated their inventory and got financed. But now the banks are really reluctant to lend to such players. So now let us learn how KRBL procures paddy. So the majority of the procurement is done through contract farming. Contract farming is by no means a written contract, but it is a commitment in which KRBL provides high quality seeds to the farmers, and they guide the farmers throughout the process. So the why do farmers want to enter into the contract with KRBL? It is because KRBL offers them guaranteed profits, and the payments are done within 3-4 days of delivery, whereas other people in the industry buy the paddy on credit. Another way by which the company procures rice is is by purchasing directly from the mandi. So when the farmers harvest their rice, they bring their produce to the mandi, in which KRBL sends its representatives to buy on their behalf. A really interesting way in which the company procures basmati rice is through distress purchases. So when the smaller players have to liquidate their inventory immediately to pay the banks, KRBL buys their rice at really lucrative prices. Now, let us see the products offered by KRBL in the domestic market. First, premium rice. In the premium range, the price starts from rupees 150 and goes to 220 rupees. And they only sell head rice. And in the hotel, restaurant, and the catering business, they have a brand named Unity. Unity is the perfect rice if you want to cook biryani. A major overhang on the sales of Unity brand is GST. So if you sell under a brand, you have to pay GST, and if you sell open rice, you don't have to pay GST, which really discourages the buyers. And for the health conscious market, they have brown rice and quinoa. Now, let us look at the medium range and the economic range. The medium range starts from rupees 70 and goes up to rupees 140. in which they have three major products, which is Dubar, Tibar, and Feast Rosanna. And in the economic range, which starts from rupees 35 and goes up to rupees 60. So the majority of the sales in India comes from the medium range and the economic range. In the international market, KRBL only sells the premium range, which is only head rice. In the later slides, we'll learn how that affects the realizations of the company. Now, let us learn the market share that the company commands in each of the areas that it operates in. First, in India, the company commands over 35% of the whole basmati rice market. And in Qatar, the company has a combined market share of 38%. First, India Gate commands 29% market, and Noorjahan brand, which is another brand under the umbrella of KRBL, which commands 9% of the market. In UAE, the company has a 33% market share, and in Kuwait, they have a market share of 24% and another 2%, which is from Bab Al Hind. In this slide, I have made a table on the quantity sold and the realization the company gets from selling each kg of basmati rice in the domestic market and the international market. So we can see the company gets a realization of just 56 rupees compared in domestic markets compared to 84 rupees in the international market. So why is that? That is because in the international market, the company only sells head rice. And in the domestic market, majority of the sales come from broken rice. In these tables, we can see the quantity sold in the domestic market and the international market is continuously increasing over the years. To get a share in the mind of the consumer, FMCG companies have to spend a lot on marketing. KRBL does 56% of the total marketing expenditure that is done by the whole industry, which is a really impressive number. So when I was making a video on KRBL, I saw many people had a misconception that the company has negative cash flows. So I made this table to show the correct way to see the cash flow from operations of KRBL is to adjust the cash flow from operations with the additional inventory that they had to buy to support the sales in the future. So if you adjust the cash flow from operations with the additional inventory that they have to buy over the last year, we see that the company made a cash flow from operation of almost 500 crores in FY18. Similar in FY19, they made a cash flow from operation of 550 crores. And in FY20, they made a cash flow from operation of 900 crores, which still has further adjustments to go. A really interesting thing about this company is they have to take seasonal debt. So what I mean by seasonal debt is in the second half of the year, which is the procurement season, they raise capital to buy inventory. And most of the debt comes down to zero in the first half of the year when most of the inventory is liquidated. Also, to strengthen my case on the cash flows of the company, we need to see that the company took a debt of 1300 crores to fund an inventory of 1800 crores in the year FY15. And if we come to the year FY20, the company only took a debt of 444 crores to fund an inventory of 2800 crores, which shows how strong the cash flows of the companies are. Now, let us look at the income statement of the company. The sales have jumped from 1,000 crores to 4,500 crores in March 2020. There's a similar trend in the profits also. The profits have jumped from 55 crores to 550 crores in March 2020. A really interesting thing to look is the operating profit margins of the company, which have stayed constant and even increased. Whereas the prices of paddy have stayed really volatile, which is because of the strong brand that the company has. Also, if you look at the interest cost of the company, which is very less compared to the peers because of the trust and the strong balance sheet that they have. Now let's come to the balance sheet of the company. I would like to make a few interesting points. So if you look at the share capital, the company has not raised even a single rupee in the last 12 years, which is a really good sign. Also, if you look at the trade receivables, the company has done a great job in managing its receivables even after even after increasing its sales multiple times. Now we'll have to look at the borrowings of the company and the inventories of the company together. The borrowings of the company in the year 2010 was 600 crores to fund an inventory of 780 crores. Now let's come to the year March 2020. The borrowings of the company are 560 crores and to fund an inventory of 280 crores, 2,800 crores. So why is that? The company has reduced its reliance on banking facilities and has invested its own internal accruals to fund the inventory. Now, now let us look at the valuations of the company. The company is available at a market cap of 5,300 crores. Also, the company enjoys really healthy return ratios, a return on capital employed of 21% and a return on equity of 20%. A really interesting thing to note is the promoter holding. The promoters are continuously buying from the open market and have increased their holding by 1.2%, which shows that the management is really bullish on the future prospects of the company. The company is available at a price to earning ratio of 10, which I believe is because of the various misconceptions that the people have because of the management. In the description link of the video, I've attached a really interesting article which addresses each of the concerns of the people, which is by my friend Amey Kulkarni from Condor Investing, who has helped me a lot in making this video. So please go and have a look. In this video, I've included a special slide in which I show what I expect that the company can be after 3 years. So for KRBL, I expect that the sales can reach to 6,000 crores in FY23 from 4,500 crores in FY20. And with that, the profit after tax can increase to 750 crores from 560 crores in FY20. So with these estimations and implying a price to earning ratio of 20, the company can achieve a market cap from a market cap of 15,000 crores. So these are just my expectations, and the video is just for educational purposes, not a recommendation to buy or sell the security. Thank you for watching the video. Please hit the subscribe button. I'm really looking forward for a suggestion and comments.